These filthy hands don't belong in my examination room, doctor. Alistair's face contorts with disgust. He shoves the black man's shoulder violently, ripping off the blood pressure cuff. The aggressive motion leaves an angry red welt. The black man freezes, silent, calculating. Pick up your chart. Dr. Alistair kicks the folder off the table. Papers scatter across the floor. Downtown clinics handle your kind, not me. The nurse gasps. Her hands shake. Dr. Alistair. The black man starts, voice dangerously calm. Get out now or security drags you out. Dr. Alistair jabs his finger toward the door, veins bulging in his neck. The black man leaves without a word, but his fingers already dance across his phone, setting something irreversible in motion. Marcus Thorne strides into Lakeview Medical Center at precisely 10 a.m. His tailored charcoal suit speaks of wealth and position. The lobby gleams with marble floors and modern art, a temple to healthcare for the privileged. At the reception desk, Marcus presents his premium insurance card. The receptionist's eyes flick between his black face and the gold-level coverage notification on her screen. Confusion crosses her features. Is there a problem? Marcus asks, voice measured. No, sir. Just processing. She taps at her keyboard, stealing glances at him. In his office, Dr. Gregory Alistair reviews his patient list. His expression sours when he spots Marcus's name. He emerges briefly, surveying the waiting room. His gaze lands on Marcus, and his smile vanishes instantly. Rebecca, he whispers urgently to the receptionist. Why is he in my schedule? She shrugs uncomfortably. Corporate referral, premium coverage. Dr. Alistair's lips press into a thin line. He retreats to his office without acknowledging Marcus. 30 minutes past his appointment time, Marcus sits patiently. Every other patient receives water, magazines, friendly conversation. He receives sideways glances. Mr. Thorne, the nurse finally calls, not meeting his eyes. Dr. Alistair barely looks up when Marcus enters the examination room. He scrolls through his phone while the nurse takes vitals. Blood pressure 138/90, she notes. Typical, Dr. Alistair mutters, finally deigning to flip through Marcus's paperwork with obvious disdain. How exactly did you get referred to this practice, Mr. Thorne? My company's executive health plan. I have premium coverage, Marcus explains, his tone neutral. Dr. Alistair's jaw tightens. We'll see about that. Marcus begins describing his symptoms. But, Doctor? Alistair interrupts repeatedly, writing notes without looking up. The nurse notices, discomfort evident in her posture. Your blood pressure is elevated, she says gently to Marcus. Not surprising, doctor. Alistair scoffs. Statistical predisposition. The implication hangs in the air, unmistakable. Marcus sits straighter, his expression revealing nothing. But his eyes, they miss nothing. Each microaggression catalogues itself in his memory with perfect clarity. Neither man realizes this routine appointment will permanently alter both their lives by tomorrow morning. I've been experiencing persistent headaches and unusual fatigue, Marcus explains. They've been worsening over the past month. Dr. Alistair barely glances up from his notes. Probably just stress. Take some ibuprofen and get more sleep. The headaches wake me at night, different from any I've had before. Marcus persists. Everyone thinks their symptoms are unique. Dr. Alistair sighs theatrically. It's rarely the case. Marcus leans forward slightly. I'd like a complete workup, please. Dr. Alistair laughs, a sharp, dismissive sound. Not necessary. Over-testing drives up healthcare costs. With all due respect, doctor, I know my body. These symptoms are new and concerning. Dr. Alistair's face hardens. I'm the medical professional here, not you. My previous physician always... Then go back to your previous doctor, Dr. Alistair snaps. Or is there a reason you can't? The nurse interjects. Doctor, Alistair, The patient's symptoms do warrant investigation per protocol. Dr. Alistair glares at her. Nurse Chen, remember your place. Marcus's eyes drift momentarily to Doctor. Alistair's desk, a framed photo. Alistair and his family smiling in front of a sprawling colonial mansion. A golf trophy. Medical degrees from prestigious institutions. The trappings of privilege and power. Marcus absorbs these details silently, then refocuses. Perhaps some basic tests would clarify things. Perhaps you should stop telling me how to do my job, Doctor, Alistair retorts. Your kind always wants special treatment. The room temperature seems to drop, 10 degrees, the slur thinly veiled but unmistakable. My kind? Marcus asks quietly, his tone perfectly controlled. Dr. Alistair realizes his mistake, but doubles down. Patients who think WebMD makes them experts, but his meaning hangs in the air, crystal clear to everyone present. Marcus's phone buzzes in his pocket, a reminder of who he really is beyond what Dr. Alistair sees. Let's repeat your symptoms, Doctor, Alistair demands, leaning back in his chair. I'm having trouble understanding your description. Marcus repeats his symptoms precisely as before. No, try again. Be specific. Dr. Alistair's pen taps impatiently. For the third time, Marcus articulates his symptoms with perfect clarity. Fine. Dr. Alistair stands abruptly. Remove your shirt. No hospital gown offered. No privacy screen pulled. Marcus meets the doctor's gaze steadily, then complies, folding his shirt neatly, despite the deliberate humiliation. Dr. Alistair snaps on a single glove, though Marcus noticed he wore two with previous patients. The cold stethoscope presses against Marcus's bare chest without warning. Breathe, he commands, not explaining the procedure or what he's listening for. The examination rushes by in seconds, perfunctory touches where there should be careful assessment. Dr. Alistair steps back quickly, as if contact is distasteful. Your heart rate seems unusually high, Doctor, Alistair notes with theatrical concern. Common in your demographic, probably poor diet choices. Marcus remains composed. I'm a vegetarian who runs 5 miles daily. Dr. Alistair snorts, ignoring this information entirely. He proceeds with the examination, deliberately avoiding eye contact, treating Marcus's body like an unpleasant object rather than a person deserving care. Nurse Chen's discomfort grows visible. She shifts her weight, opens her mouth to speak, then closes it. Under Dr. Alistair's warning glare. These symptoms are likely nothing, Doctor, Alistair declares, stripping off his single glove. People like you tend to exaggerate pain. People like me, Marcus repeats, voice level. Hypochondriacs, Dr. Alistair clarifies with a smirk. I'd like blood work and perhaps an MRI, Marcus requests calmly. Dr. Alistair scoffs. Those tests are expensive. Your insurance might not... My coverage is comprehensive, Marcus interrupts, as you've already verified. We'll see. Dr. Alistair tosses a prescription pad onto the table. Take some painkillers and come back if it gets worse, though I doubt it will. Nurse Chen's expression has transformed from discomfort to horror. She attempts to catch Marcus's eye. A silent apology. Doctor, I believe my symptoms warrant more thorough investigation, Marcus insists quietly. That's when Dr. Alistair snaps completely. His professional veneer shatters. In the adjacent room, a recording device captures every word of Dr. Alistair's upcoming tirade. Marcus sits in his Tesla, hands perfectly steady despite the encounter. The car's luxury interior contrasts sharply with the treatment he just received. He pulls out his phone, not to call a lawyer, as one might expect, but someone addressed as director. It's worse than we anticipated, Marcus says, his voice now authoritative, crisp. Explicit bias, substandard care, hostile treatment. We have everything we need. Audio confirmed? The director asks, Crystal clear. Plus a witness, the nurse. She'll cooperate with proper approach. Excellent work, Thorne. Submit your report tonight. We move tomorrow, inside the hospital. Doctor. Alistair watches from his window as Marcus's car leaves the parking lot. A satisfied smirk plays across his lips. Nurse Chen enters, hands clutching a patient file like a shield. Doctor for Alistair. That was completely unprofessional. He'll get over it, Alistair dismisses, turning away. These people always play the victim. I need to report what I witnessed today, she states firmly. Alistair's face darkens. Report what exactly? Providing medical care. Be careful, Nurse Chen. Your evaluation is coming up. She hesitates, her courage wavering against the threat. Who do you think administration will believe? A decorated physician or a nurse with barely 3 years' experience? His tone softens dangerously. Think about your career. Marcus drives toward downtown, navigation showing an unmarked government building as his destination. He dictates notes with military precision. Subject exhibited clear racial bias, refused standard diagnostic tests despite textbook symptoms, made multiple discriminatory remarks. Nurse witness present, potentially cooperative if approached correctly. Marcus's phone rings. The caller ID reads, Health Secretary Armstrong. Yes, sir. Investigation proceeding as expected. Dr. Alistair's behavior confirms all previous patient complaints. I have recordings and will submit my preliminary report tonight. After ending the call, Marcus allows himself one moment of genuine emotion, closing his eyes briefly at a red light, exhaling slowly. Not just for me, he whispers. For everyone he's turned away. Dr. Alistair checks his next day's schedule and freezes. An unexpected meeting with the hospital board appears on his calendar. The next morning, Dr. Alistair strides through the hospital's main entrance, irritation radiating from him. The sudden board meeting disrupts his carefully planned day. His phone rings. The hospital director. Gregory, did you review the patient complaints file I sent over? What complaints? Dr. Alistair demands, stopping abruptly in the corridor. The file I emailed last night. Multiple discrimination allegations. The board meeting is to address them. Dr. Alistair scoffs. Frivolous claims. Patients who don't get what they want always blame prejudice. This seems different. Please review before the meeting. Dr. Alistair ends the call with a dismissive tap, muttering about wasted time. Across town, Marcus sits at a cafe opposite the hospital. Nurse Chen approaches his table, glancing nervously over her shoulder. I could lose my job for this, she whispers, sliding into the seat across from him. Or you could help change this hospital, Marcus counters. He places his official identification card on the table. The gold emblem of the National Health Authority gleams under the cafe lights. Nurse Chen's eyes widen. You're with the Health Authority. Chief Medical Inspector. Marcus confirms Dr. Alistair has 17 complaints filed against him in the past year alone, all from minority patients. You're not the first staff member to come forward. The administration buried the complaints, she says. Department heads protect each other. Not anymore. Back at the hospital, Dr. Alistair discovers his computer access restricted when he tries to pull patient files. System says you're locked out, the IT technician explains, looking uncomfortable. New protocol for doctors under review. Under review by whom? Alistair demands, face flushing. The order came from administration, that's all I know. Alistair storms to the director's office, finding it empty, except for a document on the desk. A formal investigation notice with Marcus Thorne's name and official title clearly visible. Chief Medical Inspector, National Health Authority. Dr. Alistair turns pale as he finally Googles the patient he humiliated yesterday. Dr. Alistair paces his office, phone pressed to his ear. James, I need your help. That patient yesterday, he's some big shot with the health authority. His lawyer friend's voice carries concern. What exactly did you say to him, Gregory? Dr. Alistair hesitates. Nothing that can be proven. Were there witnesses? Alistair thinks of Nurse Chen. No one who will speak against me. You better hope so. These investigations can end careers. Alistair disconnects, anxiety climbing his spine like cold fingers. Meanwhile, Marcus sits with the hospital director in a conference room. Evidence spread across the table. Audio recordings play from Marcus's tablet. Not my patient. I don't treat your kind here. Dr. Alistair's voice unmistakable. The director wince visibly. Marcus stops the playback. This is just the latest in a pattern, Marcus explains, presenting a thick file of patient testimonies. 17 complaints in 12 months, all from minority patients. Why wasn't I informed of this pattern? The director looks genuinely disturbed. That's part of our investigation. Complaints were buried at the departmental level. By whom? That's what we're determining, Marcus replies. But the pattern of discrimination is clear. Back to Dr. Alistair, now frantically searching through hospital databases for information on Marcus Thorne. Each search hits security blocks. He calls the receptionist. Get me everything on Marcus Thorne from yesterday. Sir, those files have been flagged. I can't access them. This is my practice. Dr. Alistair slams his desk. Not exactly, the receptionist replies carefully. It's hospital property, and administration has restricted access pending today's meeting. Dr. Alistair feels control slipping away. He calls Arthur Vance, a board member who owes him favors after a delicate family matter. Arthur, I need your support at this meeting. A long pause. Gregory, this is serious. The health authority doesn't investigate without cause. It's a misunderstanding, Alistair insists, desperation creeping into his voice. For your sake, I hope so, but from what I've heard— What have you heard? Alistair demands. The evidence is compelling. I'm sorry, Gregory. As Dr. Alistair heads to the board meeting, he doesn't notice the news van pulling into the hospital parking lot. Dr. Alistair enters the boardroom, stopping short at the unusual assembly. Hospital attorneys flank the director. Board members sit stiffly. 2 empty chairs wait ominously at the head of the table. What's this about? Dr. Alistair demands, attempting to project confidence despite his quickening pulse. The director gestures to an empty seat. Please sit down, Gregory. Dr. Alistair remains standing. If this is about yesterday's patient, he misunderstood my medical assessment. The boardroom door opens. Marcus enters. Transformation complete. Gone is the patient in casual clothes. He now wears an impeccable suit. Health authority credentials displayed prominently. Behind him follows a distinguished woman, the health secretary herself. Dr. Alistair, Marcus acknowledges calmly. Thank you for joining us. Alistair stares, recognition and fear washing over his face. This is a setup. This is an official investigation, the health secretary corrects, following multiple complaints of discriminatory care at this facility, primarily involving you. The door opens again. Nurse Chen enters with several other staff members. Dr. Alistair points accusingly. You can't believe these people over me. I've given 20 years to this hospital. These people, Marcus repeats softly. Interesting choice of words, Doctor. The hospital director slides a document toward Alistair. We have testimony from staff and patients, recordings from yesterday, and statistical evidence showing disparities in your treatment protocols based on patient demographics. Dr. Alistair scoffs. Statistical coincidence. Patient outcomes suggest otherwise, Marcus responds. White patients received referrals to specialists 78% more frequently than minority patients presenting with identical symptoms. That's absurd. The data is quite clear. Marcus continues. Minority patients under your care experienced complications at 3 times the rate of white patients with identical conditions. Dr. Alistair's confident facade begins to crack. You can't possibly have reviewed all my cases. We've been investigating for 3 months, the health secretary explains. Yesterday's incident merely confirmed what the data already told us. Outside the boardroom, reporters gather as rumors spread about a major investigation into healthcare discrimination. Let me be perfectly clear about the scope of this investigation, Marcus states, opening a comprehensive digital presentation. The boardroom lights dim as charts and statistics illuminate the screen. This isn't about one appointment, Marcus continues. This represents 3 months of methodical investigation, dozens of interviews, and statistical analysis of every patient under Dr. Alistair's care for the past 5 years. Marcus clicks to the next slide. Patient outcomes organized by race, controlling for all other variables. The disparity appears in stark relief. Yesterday's appointment confirmed our suspicions, Marcus explains. Dr. Alistair consistently provides substandard care to minority patients. He taps his tablet. Audio plays through the room's speakers. Not my patient. I don't treat your kind here. Dr. For Alistair pales. You recorded me without consent. The health authority has investigative privileges, the health secretary notes, especially when investigating systemic discrimination in federally funded facilities. Marcus's expression shifts slightly, allowing a glimpse of personal connection. 2 years ago, my brother came to Dr. Alistair with symptoms similar to mine yesterday. He received no tests, no referrals, just painkillers. 3 months later, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Too late. The room falls silent. That case led me to change careers, Marcus continues, composure returning, from corporate healthcare administration to the health authority's inspection division. But this isn't personal. The evidence speaks for itself. He presents statistical analyses that tell a damning story. Minority patients under Dr. Alistair's care experienced delayed diagnosis, fewer specialist referrals, and higher complication rates compared to white patients with identical symptoms and insurance coverage. The pattern is unmistakable, Marcus concludes, and systemic. Dr. Alistair attempts damage control. These statistics can be interpreted many ways, including the correct way. Marcus counters, when controlled for all variables except race, the disparity in care quality remains statistically significant at p less than 0.1. The hospital director looks increasingly concerned. What does this mean for the hospital? That depends on your response, the health secretary explains. Acknowledging the problem and implementing systematic changes will be viewed favorably. Dr. Alistair realizes the institution he served for decades is preparing to sacrifice him. This is one appointment being blown out of proportion. Marcus shakes his head. This is 17 formal complaints, 43 staff testimonies, and hundreds of patient files showing a clear pattern of discrimination. The full scope of the investigation stuns everyone present. What Dr. Alistair thought was one unfortunate interaction with a random patient was actually the culmination of a massive, methodical investigation by one of the most powerful healthcare oversight authorities in the country. As the board processes this revelation, Dr. Alistair's phone buzzes with a text from his lawyer. Don't say another word. It's worse than you think. Turn on the news. The hospital director reaches for a remote control, turning on the boardroom's wall-mounted television. Breaking news fills the screen. Health Authority uncovers alleged discrimination at prestigious Lakeview Medical Center. Dr. Alistair watches in horror as his professional reputation collapses in real time. The reporter speaks gravely. Sources confirm a senior physician with over 20 years at the facility is at the center of the investigation. Documents obtained by our news team suggest systematic discrimination in patient care protocols based on race. No name mentioned yet, but soon. Doctor. Alistair's hands tremble slightly as he grips the edge of the conference table. The hospital director addresses the silent board. Our priority must be patient welfare and institutional integrity. What we've heard today cannot be ignored or minimized. The hospital's legal counsel, a sharp-featured woman in her 50s named Victoria Simmons, outlines their options with clinical precision. We face two paths forward. We can contest these findings and face prolonged negative publicity, potential patient exodus, and likely sanctions. Or we can cooperate fully with the health authority, implement comprehensive reforms, and demonstrate our institutional commitment to equal care standards. She pauses, letting her gaze settle on each board member. My professional recommendation is unequivocal cooperation. The evidence is substantial. Dr. Alistair interjects, desperation edging into his voice. You're throwing away my career based on unproven allegations. 20 years of service, thousands of patients treated, and you're ready to sacrifice me over one misunderstanding. Marcus slides forward a formal consent form. This document authorizes us to release the audio recording from yesterday's appointment to the Medical Ethics Board. If you believe the recording will support your version of events, I encourage you to sign. I never consented to being recorded. Dr. Alistair protests, face flushing. As I explained earlier, Marcus replies calmly. The health authority doesn't require consent during official investigations, but if you believe the recording will exonerate you, please sign here. Dr. Alistair falls silent, knowing exactly what the recording contains. Every dismissive word, every contemptuous tone. The hospital director calls for a vote. One by one, board members, including Arthur Vance, whom Alistair considered an ally, raise their hands in support of full cooperation with the investigation. The motion passes unanimously. Dr. Alistair is placed on immediate administrative leave pending a formal ethics hearing. This is a witch hunt, Doctor, Alistair hisses, pushing back his chair. No, Marcus responds, meeting his gaze directly. This is accountability. As Dr. Alistair clears out his office that afternoon, staff watch silently from doorways and corridors. Nurses who once laughed at his jokes now avert their eyes. Colleagues who shared lunches in the doctor's lounge hurry past his door. No one offers support or farewell. 20 years, he mutters bitterly, packing his medical school diploma and professional awards into a cardboard box. 20 years of dedication, and you all turn on me in a day. No one turned on you, Nurse Chen says from the doorway, her posture straight, resolute. Your actions caught up with you, that's all. Dr. Alistair glares at her. You'll regret this betrayal. When this hysteria dies down, people will remember who stood where. The only thing I regret is not speaking up sooner, she replies. How many patients suffered because I was afraid to challenge you? Meanwhile, Marcus meets with Health Secretary Armstrong in her mahogany-paneled office to discuss broader implications. Lakeview isn't unique, Marcus explains, presenting preliminary data on his tablet. Our initial research suggests similar patterns across at least 12 major hospitals in the metropolitan area alone. The problems are structural and pervasive. Then this becomes our test case for systematic reform, the secretary decides, tapping her pen thoughtfully against her desk. We'll need you to lead the expanded investigation. Are you prepared for the resistance you'll face? More than prepared, Marcus assures her. My brother didn't die in vain. Marcus's phone buzzes continuously with news alerts and messages. Public reaction pours in across social media. Former patients coming forward with similar experiences under Dr. Alistair's care. Healthcare workers sharing anonymous accounts of witnessed discrimination. Advocacy groups calling for broader investigations. The Alistair case is becoming a catalyst for a national conversation, the secretary observes. That was always the goal, Marcus responds. Individual accountability leading to systemic change. Dr. Alistair returns home to find reporters camped outside his Georgian colonial house. Cameras flash as he hurries from his Mercedes to the front door, jacket pulled over his face. His wife, Catherine, meets him in the foyer, her face pale with shock. They're saying you discriminated against patients. They're calling you a racist on social media. There's video of protesters outside the hospital. Tell me it's not true, Gregory. He can't meet her eyes. It's being blown out of proportion. You know how these things get twisted. That's not a denial, she says quietly, arms crossed over her chest. You don't understand the pressure of medical practice, the split-second decisions, the liability concerns, I understand right from wrong, she interrupts, her voice hard. We've been married for 22 years. I'm a school principal who manages diversity every day. Don't insult me by suggesting I don't understand complex situations. Dr. Alistair's phone rings. An unfamiliar number. He answers to find the president of the National Medical Defense Association, an organization known for protecting doctors from what they term frivolous lawsuits. Dr. Alistair, this is Vincent Croft. We've been following your situation closely, and we'd like to support your defense. A flicker of hope reignites. Thank you. I need all the help I can get right now. Of course, this witch hunt against experienced physicians must stop. The politicization of medicine threatens us all. Our legal team will contact you tomorrow to begin preparation. Dr. Alistair hangs up, relief washing over his features. Powerful allies were emerging from the woodwork. His wife watches him, eyes narrowed. Who was that? People who understand what's happening to me. People who will help fight this injustice. And what exactly is happening to you, Gregory? I'm being made an example of, sacrificed to political correctness and identity politics. She studies him for a long moment, then turns away. I'm going to my sister's for a few days. I need time to think about what this means for us. Catherine, you can't seriously... 22 years, Gregory. I thought I knew you. She picks up a small suitcase already packed by the door. Maybe I never did. In his expansive home office, Vincent Croft of the Medical Defense Association conducts a video call with his strategy team. The Alistair case could set dangerous precedents, he tells them. If doctors can be investigated for statistical patterns in their treatment decisions, none of us are safe. We need to reframe this narrative immediately. A PR specialist nods. We'll position this as government overreach into medical autonomy. Attack the methodology of the statistical analysis. Question the health authority's jurisdiction. Perfect. Croft agrees. And find anything we can on this. Marcus Thorne. Everyone has skeletons, as Dr. For Alistair's personal and professional life unravels. The Medical Defense Association prepares a counterattack with implications that threaten the entire healthcare reform movement. The medical ethics hearing convenes 1 week later in the austere chambers of the State Medical Board. Morning light filters through tall windows, illuminating dust motes in the air. The hearing room hums with tension. Panel members. 5 distinguished physicians and ethicists sit in judgment behind a curved oak table. Dr. Alistair arrives flanked by an expensive legal team provided by the National Medical Defense Association. Their strategy becomes immediately apparent. Attack Marcus's credibility and paint the investigation as a vendetta rather than address the substance of the evidence. Mr. Thorne lost his brother and blames my client. Alistair's lead attorney, Eleanor Hayes, argues in opening statements. Her tailored suit and crisp delivery convey absolute certainty. This entire investigation is tainted by personal bias and a predetermined outcome. Dr. Alistair has served this community with distinction for 2 decades. His reputation is being destroyed to advance a political agenda. Marcus remains composed during questioning, his responses measured and backed by evidence. Yes, my brother's case initially drew my attention to Dr. Allister, he acknowledges, but what I found was a pattern affecting hundreds of patients. This stopped being personal when the statistical evidence became undeniable. The data doesn't lie, even when people do. The hearing proceeds with testimony from former patients. An elderly black woman describes waiting hours in Dr. Allister's office while white patients who arrived later were seen first. A Latino father recounts Dr. Allister dismissing his daughter's severe abdominal pain as cultural exaggeration, only to have her appendix rupture hours later. With each testimony, Dr. Allister's expression hardens, his attorney objecting to anecdotal evidence and emotional appeals. Nurse Chen takes the stand, her voice steady despite Dr. Allister's constant glare from across the room. The pattern was consistent over the 3 years I worked with him. She testifies, he'd spend 30 minutes with certain patients, 5 minutes with others. The difference was visible to anyone who paid attention in the waiting room. And what determined this difference in time allocation? The panel chair asks. Race was the most consistent factor, she answers without hesitation. Not medical complexity, not age, not insurance status. I tracked it myself for months before coming forward. Dr. Allister's attorney pounces during cross-examination. Nurse Chen, isn't it true you were passed over for promotion twice under my client's supervision? Yes. So you harbor resentment toward Dr. Allister. I harbor concern for patients receiving substandard care. She counters unflinching. My career advancement means nothing compared to patient safety. When Dr. Allister finally takes the stand, his carefully constructed professional demeanor begins to crack under pressure. His arrogance, suppressed during earlier proceedings, resurfaces. Medicine requires judgment calls, he testifies, an edge of condescension in his voice. Not everyone needs the same tests or treatments. That's why medical school takes so long. We develop clinical intuition. And how do you determine who needs what? Marcus asks during cross-examination. Medical factors, symptoms, medical history, risk profiles such as race. I never said that, Dr. Allister snaps, composure fracturing visibly. Don't put words in my mouth. You didn't have to say it explicitly, Marcus responds calmly. The data speaks for itself. When controlling for all variables except race, patients of color received significantly different care under your supervision. That's not intuition. That's bias. The ethics committee reviews the evidence methodically. The damning recording from Marcus's appointment, the statistical analysis showing clear patterns of care disparity, testimonies from patients and colleagues, and Dr. Allister's own contradictory statements. Dr. Allister's final defense crumbles when a board member, a distinguished oncologist with 40 years of practice, asks simply, if you could go back to that appointment with Mr. Thorne, knowing who he was, would you have treated him differently? After a telling pause, Dr. Allister answers, of course, I would have been more thorough if I'd known he was with the health authority. The room falls silent. He's just admitted that standard of care depends on a patient's perceived importance, not medical need. The committee deliberates for less than an hour before delivering their verdict. The chairperson reads it with solemn authority. Dr. Allister's medical license is suspended for 2 years, with reinstatement contingent upon completing extensive bias training and ethics courses. Additionally, all his future practice must be supervised for 5 years following reinstatement as the verdict is read. Dr. Allister sits motionless, watching 20 years of career prestige evaporate. The Medical Defense Association representatives already begin packing their materials, disappointment evident. They had expected to win, to set a precedent protecting physicians from such scrutiny. Outside the hearing room, reporters swarm Marcus. He declines to gloat or give detailed comment beyond a brief statement. Today's decision represents progress, but our work toward equitable healthcare continues. This was never about one doctor, but about systemic problems that affect patients nationwide. In the corridor, Nurse Chan approaches Marcus. "What happens now?" "Now the real work begins," he answers. "Changing individual behavior is just the start. We need to transform the entire system." As Dr. Alistair leaves the hearing in disgrace, Marcus receives an urgent call about unexpected resistance to the broader healthcare reform efforts from a coalition of powerful medical institutions. 6 months later, Marcus stands at a podium in the grand ballroom of the National Press Club. Cameras flashing before him. His posture conveys quiet authority earned through struggle. Behind him, a banner stretches across the wall. National Healthcare Equity Initiative. The health secretary stands to his right, hospital administrators, and Nurse Chen, now promoted to Equity Compliance Director at Lakeview, to his left. What began with one case has revealed systemic issues requiring systematic solutions, Marcus explains, voice steady and purposeful. Today, we're implementing new protocols across all federally funded healthcare facilities. Marcus outlines the reforms being rolled out nationwide. Mandatory bias training for all medical personnel, from surgeons to receptionists. Anonymous patient feedback systems that flag potential disparities in real-time statistical monitoring of care outcomes across demographic groups, with quarterly public reporting and increased funding for medical education in underserved communities. Most importantly, Marcus emphasizes, we're establishing a new patient's Bill of Rights with clear, accessible reporting mechanisms for discrimination. No more buried complaints. No more isolated incidents that hide systemic patterns. He pauses, surveying the packed room. Equal care isn't special treatment. It's the minimum standard we should expect in a just society. The scene shifts to a medical school lecture hall at Harvard. Students lean forward, captivated, as a professor analyzes the Alistair case on a large screen. Case studies, statistical analyses, and outcome reports fill the display. This landmark case fundamentally changed how we approach medical education, the professor explains, highlighting key data points. Implicit bias doesn't just hurt feelings, it costs lives. It leads to misdiagnosis, delayed treatments, and preventable complications. Students engage in intense discussion about concrete strategies to recognize and counteract their own biases in clinical decision-making. The atmosphere crackles with purpose and determination. Medicine has always evolved, one student observes, from bloodletting to germ theory to precision medicine. This is just the next evolution, removing bias from clinical judgment. Meanwhile, Dr. Alistair sits in a small cubicle at a medical documentation company, the only work he could secure with his license suspended. The office is gray, fluorescent lit, devoid of the prestige he once commanded. On his computer screen, the press conference plays. His former hospital, once merely a setting for his personal practice, has become a national model for equitable care, while his own career lies in ruins. He closes the video, expression unreadable. A photo of his empty house sits on his desk. Catherine filed for divorce 3 months ago. The scene transitions to Marcus visiting his brother's grave in a sunlit cemetery. He places white roses against the headstone, brushing leaves from the marble surface. "It's happening, Leo," he says quietly. "Real change, not just talk. Your death wasn't for nothing." Back at the health authority offices, Marcus reviews data from the first implementation phase with his team. Colorful charts and graphs show promising improvements in care equity across pilot hospitals, narrowing gaps in wait times, diagnostic thoroughness, pain management protocols, and follow-up care. Early results are encouraging, a data analyst points out, particularly in emergency departments where split-second decisions often revealed the starkest disparities. This is just the beginning, the health secretary notes, studying the numbers. Healthcare discrimination didn't develop overnight, and it won't be solved overnight either. We're facing centuries of entrenched assumptions. But for the first time, Marcus responds, determination evident in his posture. We have systems to measure it, address it, and prevent it. We are making the invisible visible. Across town, a coalition of hospital administrators, medical school deans, and healthcare advocates meets to discuss implementation challenges and success stories. The resistance is weakening, one hospital CEO observes. The data is too compelling to ignore, and patients are demanding these changes. It's also good business, another adds pragmatically. Better care means better outcomes, fewer complications, fewer readmissions. Our quality metrics are already improving. The final shot shows a diverse group of medical students taking an oath that adds a new line to the traditional Hippocratic oath. I will provide equal care to all patients, regardless of race, gender, or background. Recognizing that justice is inseparable from healing. As the reforms gain national attention, opposition grows from powerful healthcare corporations concerned about increased scrutiny, liability exposure, and the precedent of external oversight of medical decisions. 1 year later, Marcus sits in an examination room at Riverside Health Partners, now as a regular patient. The office is bright, modern, one of many practices that have embraced the new equity standards with enthusiasm rather than mere compliance. Framed certificates of equity training hang beside medical diplomas. Informational posters in multiple languages line the walls. His new physician, Dr. Anita Patel, enters with his chart, her manner both professional and warm. She reviews his history thoroughly, asking detailed questions about his recurring headaches and fatigue that have persisted despite his earlier treatment. Your symptoms could indicate several possibilities, she explains, making careful notes in his electronic record. The previous medication helped partially, but we should investigate further. I'd like to run these tests to rule out the most concerning options first. She shows him the screen, explaining each test and its purpose with clarity and respect. Marcus nods appreciatively. Thank you for being so thorough. It's not thoroughness, doctor, Patel responds simply. It's standard care. Everyone deserves the same attention and consideration. That's the practice we've always tried to maintain here, even before the formal standards. After she leaves to order the tests, Marcus checks his phone. News headlines announce expanded healthcare equity regulations now covering private practices nationwide. A photo shows Nurse Chen now. Miss Chen, Healthcare Equity Director for the State Medical Board, testifying before a congressional committee on discrimination in medical settings. Another notification appears. An email confirming his appointment to the newly formed National Medical Ethics Commission. Tasked with continuing the work he started, the camera follows Dr. Patel to her office, where a framed certificate displays her practice's perfect equity compliance score. Next to it hangs a photo of her diverse medical team, receiving an award for patient satisfaction across all demographics. A stack of research papers on her desk reveals her own contribution to the field. A forthcoming study on improving diagnostic accuracy through structured protocols that reduce subjective bias. Meanwhile, across town, Dr. Alistair sits in a classroom at the Center for Medical Ethics, completing his required bias training course. His appearance has changed. The designer suits replaced by casual clothes, his formerly immaculate hair now showing gray, his posture less commanding. His instructor reviews his final assessment. You've met the technical requirements, Doctor. Alistair, the instructor says, a note of concern in her voice. but I'm not convinced you understand why your actions were harmful. Your essays focus on procedure and policy, not impact. I followed the curriculum, Alistair responds stiffly. I've completed every assignment. Understanding discrimination isn't about checking boxes. It's about recognizing humanity in every patient who walks through your door. It's about questioning your own assumptions. For a moment, something like genuine reflection crosses Alistair's face. Through the classroom window, he watches a young black medical student walk by, confident and purposeful. The future of medicine that will have no place for his outdated biases. Maybe, he admits quietly. I never really saw some of my patients. Not really. The instructor nods. That's the beginning of understanding. The scene returns to Marcus receiving his test results. Dr. Patel explains he has a treatable condition that left undiagnosed could have caused serious complications. Exactly what happened to his brother under Dr. Alistair's care. With proper medication and monitoring, you should see significant improvement within weeks, Dr. Patel assures him. If my brother had received these same tests, Marcus begins, the old pain briefly visible. Dr. Patel nods in understanding. I know, but because of your work, thousands of patients are now getting the care they deserve. Your brother's story changed medicine. As Marcus leaves the hospital, he passes the newly installed patient rights display in the lobby. A diverse group of patients reads the prominent statement, "Every patient deserves equal care," translated into 12 languages. A QR code links to the reporting system that patients can access anonymously. Outside, autumn leaves scatter across the hospital courtyard. Marcus calls the health secretary with good news about his health and an update on the latest reform implementation statistics. Compliance is at 92% nationwide, he reports, and patient outcome disparities have decreased by 47% in participating hospitals. The program is working better than we projected, the secretary replies. We're receiving inquiries from health ministries in 3 other countries about implementing similar frameworks. As he talks, the camera pans to show the hospital entrance where patients of all backgrounds enter with equal confidence that they'll receive proper care. The most profound victory of all. A young black doctor holds the door for an elderly patient, their interaction natural and respectful. In the background, a training session for new staff emphasizes equitable care standards. The system slowly but surely is changing from within. Equal care isn't special treatment, it's the only acceptable standard. Marcus addresses graduating medical students at their white coat ceremony 1 year later. The auditorium brims with proud families and faculty in academic regalia. Behind him, a banner reads, "Healing with Justice." Your generation has the opportunity to create a healthcare system where everyone receives equal treatment regardless of who they are, he tells the rapt audience. The reforms we've implemented are just the beginning. You will carry this work forward and perfect it. He shares compelling statistics showing improved outcomes for minority patients at facilities following the new protocols, faster diagnosis, more appropriate pain management, decreased complication rates, and higher patient satisfaction across all demographics. These numbers represent real lives, parents who return to their children, workers who keep their jobs, families who avoid financial ruin from preventable complications. The audience applauds enthusiastically as data visualizations demonstrate the tangible impact of the reforms. Faculty members nod in agreement, many having incorporated equity protocols into their teaching. The resistance we initially faced has largely dissipated as the data becomes undeniable. Marcus continues, even the most skeptical institutions have recognized that equitable care improves outcomes for everyone and reduces liability. Good medicine and justice align perfectly. As the ceremony concludes with students receiving their white coats, Marcus is approached by a young doctor who looks familiar, the medical student who witnessed Dr. Alistair's final assessment. "Dr. Thorne," she says, extending her hand. "I'm Dr. Simone Roberts. Now, your case study changed how I view my responsibility as a physician. It transformed our curriculum and my understanding of what medicine should be." Marcus smiles warmly. "The real heroes are patients who spoke up before me, and people like Nurse Chen, who risked their careers to do what's right when no one was watching. I'll be starting my residency at Lakeview next month." Dr. Roberts tells him they've become the hospital everyone wants to train at now. The transformation there has been remarkable. Marcus agrees, from systemic problems to systemic solutions. The final shot shows Marcus looking at his phone, a news alert about similar healthcare equity initiatives launching in Canada, the UK, and Australia. Inspired by his case and the demonstrated improvements in patient outcomes, a medical journal has published a comprehensive study confirming that standardized protocols reduce bias-based disparities while improving care for all patients. The evidence is now irrefutable. A closing voice over-delivers the moral justice in healthcare isn't just about punishing discrimination. It's about creating systems where equal care becomes the only acceptable standard. Change begins with one voice willing to speak truth. But it only succeeds when institutions embrace that truth and transform themselves. If this tale of justice and healthcare reform resonated with you, make sure to hit like and subscribe to Beat Stories for more compelling narratives that expose injustice and celebrate the champions who fight back. Every week, we bring you real-world inspired dramas where underdogs triumph against discrimination and corruption. From medical bias to workplace harassment, our stories shine a light on the battles being fought and won every day. Every time someone stands up, speaks out, or refuses to be erased, a new story is born. At Beat Stories, we archive that courage. Subscribe now and help us keep these moments alive, because the more we share them, the harder they are to ignore.